8:30,
we didn't even have a warning.
More than 90 people are dead, with dozens still missing after severe flash floods in Texas. Communities are bracing for more severe weather as recovery efforts continue.
Plus, President Donald Trump announces reciprocal tariffs on top trade partners.
And new details on the Justice Department's investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. Newswatch starts right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Talia Milowich.
And I'm Noah Cavan. Welcome to Newswatch.
It's been another hot, steamy day here in Athens.
It has been, and to find out when we're going to get a break from the heat, let's throw it over to fleet forecaster Steve Nedley.
Yeah, guys, we're actually just in the middle of getting our first round of relief from this heat. We've already dropped down to 82 degrees, and that's because we've had some rain move into the area in the form of this line that's coming in from the west, and that's really going to help cool off our area because when that rain drops in, it evaporates and helps cool it off. It's really interesting to see on this heat map. We got high 70s in Columbus, but until that front moves through, these areas are still upper 80s, 90 degrees, so it's really acting as a big cooling effect as this rain moves through. As we go further into tonight, we might have some lingering showers head into the area, but once that sun goes down, all of this energy that's powering these more stronger, more severe storms is kind of going to go away, so we'll have some lingering showers and an overnight low of 68, so a little bit of relief. Tomorrow is about a rinse and repeat kind of thing. We're just going to be a little bit cooler because, again, that rain moves through the area. Only a high of 86. And then we have, again, the chance of thunderstorms when that sun comes up. But stay tuned for my full forecast where we break down what the rest of the week looks like.
Governor Mike DeWine is sending troops to Texas to aid in search, rescue, and recovery efforts after deadly flash floods.
DeWine offered support to Texas Governor Greg Abbott over a weekend phone call. 20 troopers from the Ohio State Highway Patrol and canines and their handlers from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources left today.
The dogs are specially trained to aid in search and rescue efforts. They'll be in Texas for 1 week as recovery efforts continue across the state.
The death toll rises to 100 following devastating floods through central Texas, with dozens still accounted for.
A flood watch covering nearly 5 million people, including all of the flood disaster areas, remains in effect with more scattered showers and storms ahead. Maribel Gonzalez has more.
Waterways in some of the most devastated parts of central Texas rising again Monday as more rain falls in the area. The elements hampering ongoing search and rescue efforts.
They're running into a lot of technical challenges with terrain, with water.
The Kerr County Sheriff's Office says over 400 local, state, and national first responders and more than a dozen canine units are helping in the search and rescue efforts. Here, the dramatic rescue after 2 people clung to a tree to save their lives. Others in the state, including children, were forced to swim to safety.
The flood started getting bigger, and it was going up to, we have bunk beds in our cabins, and it was going up to the top bunk, and we had one choice, and we had to swim out of our cabins.
I said a prayer when I was standing on my porch. Both my parents are deceased, and I said, Mom, Dad, God, help.
The death toll continues to rise, including 27 campers and counselors from Camp Mystic along the Guadalupe River.
I've lost near friends, best friends, my boss, my godchildren.
The Hill Country community now questioning if anything could have been done to prevent this tragedy.
Everyone here, if we could have warned them, we would have done so. And we didn't even have a warning.
While survivors come together in their grief.
The outpour of people near, far, it's been incredible.
In Kerrville, Texas, I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
President Trump turns up the pressure on 2 of America's key trading partners, Japan and South Korea. Earlier today, Trump sent letters to the heads of those countries to inform them of their new tariff rate. Both countries will now face a 25% tariff starting August 1st. This comes as the White House says Trump will push back his deadline for reciprocal tariffs on other countries from July 9th to August 1st.
We've seen a lot of positive developments in the right direction, but the administration, the president, and his trade team want to cut the best deals for the American people and the American worker.
Accomplished. I'd like to see if we can get that war ended.
Trump announced he also sent similar letters to a handful of other countries, including Malaysia, South Africa, and Myanmar. Their tariff rates will go as high as 40%. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is back in Washington to meet with President Trump for a third time this year. This comes at a pivotal moment in the Middle East as indirect talks between Hamas and Israel continue in Doha to secure another ceasefire and hostage release. Netanyahu appeared optimistic as he boarded his plane to the States, saying Trump would help us move closer to an agreement. Trump himself is also hopeful for a deal soon, saying he thinks there will be a deal next week. But although Netanyahu appears supportive of the U.S.-backed proposal, he also claimed Hamas is seeking changes that are unacceptable.
More than 75,000 immigrants from Honduras and Nicaragua living in the U.S. under temporary protected status could be forced to leave. Temporary protected status, or TPS, applies to people who would face extreme hardship if forced to return to their home countries. The Trump administration recently stripped that protection from multiple nationalities, arguing that conditions in their home countries no longer justified protections. Both Honduras and Nicaragua were designated for TPS in 1999 because of environmental disasters. So far, some federal judges have blocked efforts to end TPS. The Justice Department announced there is no evidence accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein kept a client list or was murdered. The DOJ says Epstein died by suicide in 2019 while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. Some right-wing media members pushed a theory that Epstein kept a client list as blackmail. Earlier this year, the White House and DOJ released a series of documents related to the Epstein investigation. Almost all of them were already available to the public. The DOJ says it will not be releasing any new documents.
Here in Ohio, supporters of an amendment to end property taxes are worried about tax cuts in the state's budget. DeWine vetoed several proposals in the budget that would have lowered property taxes, saying they would have forced schools to make major cuts. Instead of property tax cuts, the budget establishes a flat income tax rate of 2.75%. Supporters of the amendment say this could actually increase property taxes. The group behind the amendment, the Committee to Abolish Ohio's Property Taxes, says it's still working to put it on the 2026 ballot.
The Equal Rights Amendment is one step closer to being on the 2026 ballot. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost certified the amendment last week. Now, the Ohio Ballot Board must decide if the proposal is one constitutional amendment or multiple constitutional amendments. The amendment would expand beyond the usual protected classes to include age, marital status, military status, and disability status, among others. Supporters have 1 year to collect about 450,000 valid signatures from voters in at least half of Ohio's counties to put the amendment on the ballot.
Governor DeWine orders the U.S. and Ohio flags be flown at half-staff in Scioto County in honor of County Commissioner Kathy Coleman.
Coleman passed away on July 4th after complications from a car accident. Coleman was appointed to fill her late husband's seat as commissioner in 2016 and later was re-elected. She served as commissioner until her passing.
The flags will remain at half-staff until her funeral on Friday.
Coming up, Americans are losing confidence in the economy, but experts say you can still avoid taking financial hits. Ways you can save money in times of economic uncertainty.
And planning for the future can be overwhelming, especially with major global and economic events. Here's what experts recommend you can do to avoid letting your anxiety make decisions for you.
We had a beautiful sunny weekend, but the rain is back in the forecast. Stay tuned to see what this week looks like next.
dozens of boats were on the water for the 11th annual boat flotilla held by Burr Oak Alive. The event raises money for the nonprofit that holds events and does vital work to maintain the trails and put on events like the boat flotilla at Burr Oak State Park. It's events like the flotilla that helped save Burr Oak Lodge back in 2011.
Somehow in the process, someone heard it, and someone said, well, maybe we should take the money we appropriated to tear it down. Let's find a new company to take care of this. And that's what they did.
The flotilla was one of their first events and brought over 100 people this year on Saturday. Contestants bring their boats and enter a raffle for prizes and a 50-50. While most boats keep to the patriotic theme, the event encourages creativity and every boat wins a prize. The day ends with a parade on the water for all of the boats.
One rodeo brings real old-school Western traditions to local ranchers. I got to spend the day at the ranch and learn more about what this rodeo had to offer. Cattle sorting, trail loading, and branding are all ranch activities these cowboys and cowgirls, like Lexi Downard, competed in at the 4th Smoke Rise Ranch Rodeo.
We're here just having fun, doing some really old school ranch rodeo events, just kind of keeping the heritage alive, having fun.
The ranch rodeo featured 5 teams of 4 competing in events based around everyday ranch activities.
You get to see everybody's skill level, learn stuff from new people, and you get to see the horsemanship.
People from across the state and beyond came to bring the Western ranch lifestyle to Ohio.
This is all real life stuff that happens every day at multiple places across the country.
Davis says ranch rodeos lets people connect with where their food comes from and the real work done on ranches. And for Downard, it's a chance to connect with her horses and the audience.
We love spending time with our horses and just the crowd, everyone here, it's like family.
So Talia, it looks like you had a great time at the rodeo. What was your favorite part about it?
I got the chance to go on one of the horses, which was really fun, and it was a little hot, but it wasn't too bad in the shade, so it was a really nice day.
Well, I know we've had a few nice days in a row, but unfortunately I think that's starting to come to an end as we've had some rain move into the area. And right now that rain is sitting right here. It's given us a little bit of relief though from that hot weather we were just talking about. We're sitting at 82 degrees right now. That's just because when that rain falls, it helps cool off the air and there's no sunshine to heat the ground back up. Additionally, we do have some wind in the area, which is also playing a role in cooling off our temperatures. This heat map though, we can kind of see where this rain has dropped and where it hasn't yet. Up in Columbus, 77 degrees, but down in Parkersburg, they're still in the 90s, so it's really just kind of hit and miss where this rain falls or where we've seen that cooling occur so far. Taking a look at the heat index map, we haven't really been able to get rid of that humidity we've been looking at. These deeper colors are kind of more humid air, and so we've been experiencing not only the heat but also humidity. So the heat might be going away, but the humidity is here to last for a little bit. That's why we have this special weather statement that's kind of going to be in effect until about 8 p.m. tonight, just because we have such high heat indexes in certain places that haven't had that rain yet. But if we look just above Chillicothe, we actually have a flood advisory, which is because we've had all these pop-up showers drop in a lot of rain and even some damaging winds in parts, but it hasn't been widespread quite yet. I mean, taking a look at the radar, you can see it's starting to group up a little bit more, and that's where this cold front's going to come into play, and that's where we're going to see a big-time shift in terms of our temperatures that we've been seeing over the past few days. But while the sun is still up, we are still under a marginal risk of severe weather, and again, the main risk for that is just damaging winds or downbursts of rain like we saw just above Chillicothe with that flood advisory. Now, the main reason for this is, again, this cold front that's kind of been moving into our area, and it's going to drop into our region and kind of just stall out over the next few days. So we're really going to have the same kind of weather pattern over and over again as we head into the majority of this week. Tonight, we're going to cool off a bit with a lot of that rain, 68 degrees tonight. So if we're dodging raindrops, it should be a pretty pleasant night once these showers start to die down with that sun heading out of the area or the sunset. Tomorrow, kind of the same thing. Again, we don't get quite as high because we don't have really that much sun. More cloud cover is going to help block off that sun. And then we can kind of look and really just see this front's really not going anywhere. It's going to move into our area, dump the rain, and then not really go anywhere. Tomorrow night, much of the same thing. We kind of just are going to be dealing with these pop-up showers where we do get sunshine. it's going to be a little bit more severe. But if we don't get sunshine, it's just kind of going to be pushing in, pushing out type of rain. Wednesday, we might get a little bit more wide or scattered showers, not quite as widespread as tomorrow is looking. But then if we look into the 7-day, we don't really get a break from this rain for quite a while. I mean, it's pretty much rinse and repeat as we head into the rest of this work week. We're 86s until at least Thursday, and we have a chance of thunderstorms where we do get a break in those clouds to help heat up the sun, and we slowly start to climb back up, much like last weekend. We start to head into the 90s with, again, that chance of rain lasting all the way through the weekend, so it's going to be a rainy one, so make sure you pack your umbrellas if you're heading out the door. Thank you, Steve. Tesla shares take a major hit as the feud between Trump and Elon Musk continues. Tesla shares tanked more than 5%. The decline comes as Trump called out Musk in a social media post last night, saying he was a, quote, train wreck. The feud started early last month after Musk criticized what Trump calls his big beautiful bill, which the president signed into law last week. Musk says the tax and spending package has policies that will add trillions of dollars to the federal budget deficit. As Trump pushes back his reciprocal tariff deadline, data shows the economic uncertainty is causing Americans anxiety. Jen Sullivan looks at how you can grow your personal wealth amid the economic chaos.
When it comes to the economy, Americans don't feel very optimistic. The Consumer Sentiment Index, which measures how people feel about the economy, has improved recently, but is still lower than a year ago. Experts say two big reasons are turmoil in the Middle East and possible tariffs.
We've seen consumer and business confidence taking some hits because of all of this.
Mark Hamrick with the financial company Bankrate says when you look at many of the indicators of how the economy is doing, the numbers are positive. June had a stronger than expected jobs report, and the latest consumer price index, which tracks the price of a variety of goods, showed inflation was cooling. So why do many Americans feel uneasy about the economy?
There has been a misalignment between so-called soft data and hard data, soft data being that which measures attitudes or sentiment, and the actual behavior, what people do.
Housing prices continue to rise and mortgage rates are still high. Those expenses account for a large portion of people's monthly budgets. Hamrick says there are some personal finance behaviors that may help consumers feel a little better about their wallet during times of economic uncertainty.
Make sure your savings is adequate, pay down debt.
Hamrick says take a hard look at your spending and put more money into a high-yield savings account, which pays an annual return of about 4%. That's much higher than just a regular savings account. Also look into certificates of deposit, known as CDs. Those accounts also offer a fixed rate of return. And don't forget to put money into a retirement account like a 401k. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
From foreign conflicts to economic uncertainty and more, it can seem like the world is piling on to the concerns we face when making a big financial decision. Added anxiety can influence your decisions in ways you may not expect, but experts have a few ways you can plan for your future in unprecedented times. They recommend trying to understand the experiences and traumas of your life, even if they have nothing to do with money.
The more stressed we are, the more triggered we are, the higher the chance of a poor financial decision playing out.
When it comes to major financial decisions like your house, career, or growing your family, you can take a closer look at the emotions behind your choices.
Tens of thousands of heart attacks and tens of thousands of strokes could be prevented.
Next, what a new study reveals about access to medication.
PBS viewers believe that businesses that sponsor PBS on WOUB Public Television have a commitment to quality and excellence. Sponsoring a PBS television program offers your business a unique opportunity to connect with a highly engaged, loyal, and trustful audience in a clutter-free environment, leading to increased brand awareness, positive perception, and potential for higher customer engagement. Your sponsorship is important to the community, and the rewards come back to you in the form of loyal customers. Align your organization with America's most trusted news and public affairs network. WOUB Public Television is worthy of your trust. Contact Corporate Support Director Kathy Malesic at 740-593-4909 or online at woub.org/support.
The Ohio Art Corridor is a destination experience. We would like this to be the largest outdoor art gallery in the world.
Portsmouth was able to field an incredible team for a brief moment in the sun that almost was sweet enough to get them a national championship.
We got land granted to us in Ohio. Great opportunity. Let's go. How would you know you got here? It was just sheer determination and patience and just hard, back-breaking work.
The bridge was acclaimed at the time of being an engineering marvel.
Progress is all about taking the lessons of the past and doing better. So I would hope that now that we know better, we will do better.
Major medical associations are suing the Trump administration over changes to the COVID-19 vaccine guidance. The groups represent hundreds of thousands of doctors, medical professionals, and scientists. They're suing Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., as well as the heads of the FDA, the National Institutes of Health, and acting director of the CDC. Back in May, Kennedy announced the COVID-19 vaccine would no longer be recommended for pregnant people and healthy children on the CDC's immunization schedule.
An alarming new study says the health of America's children has declined over the past few decades. Children in the U.S. are dying at a much higher rate than those in similar high-income countries. A study published today in the journal JAMA finds the biggest differences were in deaths from gun violence and traffic accidents. The study also showed an increase in chronic conditions and found nearly half of U.S. children are getting medical care for a chronic health problem. The study's co-author said the health decline is mostly from avoidable problems, not genetics or economic factors. More than 10% of adults in the U.S. have high cholesterol, which can lead to severe health problems. But a new study suggests many who should be on medication to lower cholesterol aren't actually taking it. Mandy Gaither has more on the research and the reasons some patients may not be receiving the treatment.
Every year in the U.S., about 805,000 people have a heart attack, and more than 795,000 men and women have a stroke. But there are medications to reduce the risk of both.
Despite the benefits of these treatments for high cholesterol, they're underutilized.
Dr. Caleb Alexander with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is lead author of a study that analyzed 5,000 U.S. adults. About half of those studied were eligible to take medication to lower cholesterol, but only about 23% of the patients who had never had a major cardiovascular event were taking the medicine to reduce risk of one. And of those who have had a major event, only about 68% were taking the medication.
These treatments include statins, which many people may be familiar with. These drugs are safe and effective and have been on the market for many, many years. But there are also newer treatments.
Alexander says there are many reasons people aren't taking cholesterol-lowering medication. Many are undiagnosed and skip yearly checkups so they don't know they have high cholesterol. Others may not feel they need treatment or are unable to afford it. And others don't remember to take the medicine consistently.
Tens of thousands of heart attacks and tens of thousands of strokes could be prevented each year if people were receiving treatment for high cholesterol that's in accordance with the best expert guidelines.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Still ahead, one baseball field in Iowa brings a classic movie to life.
Francia Marquez, a Black Colombian activist, challenges the status quo with a presidential campaign that inspires a nation to dream. Igualada on POV.
tonight at 10 on WOUB.
You just gotta roll with the punches. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm hitting 70 years old now, and it's time for me to have it together.
I still believe in hard work, but I will say that I think we are fooling ourselves if we believe that it's only hard work.
There are so many people that are in the same situation, that are struggling the same way. It's like we haven't come very far.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
There's nothing more American than PBS. It's a safe place where kids learn and grow, and where grown-ups are informed, entertained, and inspired. PBS is one of America's greatest resources for 50 years strong, and PBS needs your help to keep going for another 50.
We will have done a great service
for our future. Visit Protect My Public Media to learn more, because there's nothing more American than PBS.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
One Iowa city brings a classic 80s movie to life on the baseball field. Baseball legends, pressed in vintage uniforms, rose from the cornfield and invited the crowds to run drills and take a swing at the batting cage. The Field of Dreams in Iowa has been around for decades and was created as part of the 80s movie of the same name. For many, the Ghost Show gives them a chance to get together.
We've been doing it for so long, and we're always amazed at the amount of people that come out here and that stuff, and just the enjoyment that they have. Once the Ghost Show starts and seeing the guys come out of the corn, how in awe people are of that.
Major League Baseball played a regular season game next to the historic site in 2021. It was the first Major League game ever held at the movie location and the first game ever played in Iowa. So Steve, earlier I heard you say this was one of your favorite movies.
I mean, I think it's arguably top 5. It doesn't beat out like Sandlot, Major League, Moneyball, but it's definitely a classic. What about you, Noah?
I was going to say, I don't think it's quite Major League or a league of their own, but it's definitely a top 5 baseball movie for sure.
Now, I know they say build it and they will come, but tonight might not be the night to do that because we have plenty of rain in the area. An overnight low of 68 degrees, and those showers are going to taper off as that sun goes down. But we're far from out of the woods in terms of this rain. We're on the hook for it for at least the next 5, 6, 7 days, having a chance of rain. So we'll be watching that very closely to make sure you bring an umbrella out the door.
That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Steve Nedlick, I'm Talia Milowich.
And I'm Noah Cavan. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.